If you play this out like 30 years in the future, do you think we'll get to some sort of super AGI, or what sci-fi movie do you think we end up in our lifetimes here?
Yeah, so I'll start with a book I read. So I went to West Point for school, so I've got a ton of this geopolitics stuff. I'm really interested in it, the military thing. And one of the books I had to read is by this guy named Friedman. It's called The Next 100 Years. And he was basically trying to map out geopolitics for the next 100 years. He was in charge of Stratfor, big government think tank thing. And you got to 2030, 2050, and it started to read like a sci-fi novel. And at first, it kind of turned me off, not because I'm not into sci-fi. I just thought, yeah, okay, whatever. And now I'm telling you, if any of your readers are interested, it's like a 100-page book. It's fascinating, especially now looking at what he was right on. You go, oh, there's something here. When I think 30 years out, I see folks that can afford it having augmented reality implant stuff. You're already seeing that with Neuralink and all those other pieces. I see folks that can afford it. You're going to have, I'm worried. I think that the gap for haves and have-nots increases. I think the folks that can afford it will make themselves super intelligent. That's a scary thought, especially if they're not morally straight characters. Or flip side of that, the altruistic side of me would love that doesn't happen. I would love it if you make that affordable, accessible. All these tools are easy as Meta's glasses that you put them on and say, hey, tell me about this, right? And it helps you out, or book my appointment, all that sort of it. I see life getting easier. But I also see the real concern for, I do think at some level you need the government regulation. I think at some point you need morally straight folks, but I think where it really comes down to, and Ryan said it, it's the money, right? I think right now, the biggest concern that I have, I was meeting with a New York Times reporter last week, and he said, it's hard to help a world that doesn't want to help itself. And that really stuck with me. UN diplomats says the same thing. You kind of get, with the folks that have been out there, you go, gotta kind of get it, right? But what I really went in on that, it's how do we make peace more profitable than conflict, right? Yep. And I think going back to our platform, I think that's where it starts. It starts with how much diversity can I inject into a system so people aren't as afraid. You lead with curiosity, a little Ted Lasso, lead with curiosity. When you bake that in, you almost get this idea that I hope it's the spark that leads to people seeing that peace is more prosperous than conflict. I don't think we'll sit in our lifetime, but my hope is within the next 30 years, that's what AI starts to do. You give the common person the right access to the right information to make an informed decision, as opposed to the child soldier leader in pick country has grown up that way, and that's all they know. The more access to information, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, Grant said, and I'll put the exclamation point on it. I think chaos and conflict right now feed the algorithm.
Yeah.
So we're trying our darndest to throw something else in it and catch people's attention and hopefully change the narrative.
I think that's a really cool mission. Great thoughts there as well. And we saw this year live translation where you can be speaking English into one side of Google Meet and hearing the native language on the other side. That's so like cool. Star Trek level, like sci-fi.
Yes. Apple did it with
the here in instant.
Yeah, it's tremendous, right? It's tremendous.